The World Cup semi-finals are here. My name is Corbin from the Parlay Club, and I've got the best bets and the plays the books do not want you known about. As always, drop a comment, like, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Let's get right into it. Obviously, as I mentioned, semi-final time, so only four teams left in the World Cup, and I think they're quite tough games to call. Obviously, all four teams will have had success to get to this stage. We're starting with France versus Spain, which kicks off tomorrow at this point. So you have, let's go down to it. France are obviously the favourites. They've been the favourites for the whole tournament for quite some time. Odds have obviously been shortened. I've mentioned it time and time again. I think the winner of this game wins the whole World Cup. I think both these teams are so much better than both England and Argentina. But I think this in itself is a tough game to call. Minus 155 on France to advance, plus 125 on the Spanish. Really, this game kind of comes down to a few different areas and kind of passages of play in my eyes. Firstly, the Spanish will continue to dominate the ball. I think they'll have the lion's share of possession, as they will do against, quite frankly, any team in the world. But to me, they're starting to look a bit fatigued and devoid of ideas. You see them, I think it's both games, they've had to have kind of late-ish or very late goals from Moreno just popping up from like rebounds or crashing the box from midfield. But for the rest of the game, they have moments of promise. I'm not saying they're useless or anything like that, clearly, but it kind of looks a bit disjointed and a bit slow. Like Yamal has looked good in moments, but I still haven't seen the best of him and consistency from him. Now he does have a tendency to show up even more in bigger games, and I think he's going to love playing against Digne, France's left back, who I think is quite poor. I think I mentioned it at the start of the tournament how I think that kind of like left side of the French defense can be got at. And I wonder if this is the game we finally see it happen and Yamal to take advantage. We'll get onto his shot props hopefully in a minute. But you then look at it, it's not real free flowing. They're not linking up and flowing. The Spanish player that's impressed me almost the most is Dani Olmo. I've always loved Olmo, but I feel like he's the one kind of linking up and moving around. The likes of Pedri, I love Pedri, but he's looked off it. Probably why he didn't start the last game. Baena, I thought Nico Williams would have been back to take over that left wing spot, and apparently not. I haven't seen much from Baena to really justify it. I liked Orafable. I mentioned him for top goal scorer and all that kind of stuff. That's played out well. He's been getting some goals, but there's no real like penetrating runs from them. I'm not seeing loads of 1-2s, chance creation, running in behind. It all just kind of feels a bit slow, and that was kind of showed in that last round against Belgium, which they won 2-1, and they deservedly won. They were the better team. They dominated, but they didn't. You never felt like this could have been like a 3-4-5 goal game for Spain, which I honestly, in that kind of matchup, thought they probably should get on paper. The French, on the other hand, to me, it all comes down to that left channel. They need to get Doué, Mbappe, and Elise kind of in that area. I think this is going to be a tougher game for the right hand side with Dembele against Cucurella. On the right side, so French's left side, they've obviously got Doué left wing against Pedro Porro, who I thought he tried his best and he probably did as much as he could do, but it showed the limitations with him. Kubasi, who I like, but we'll get onto in a second, and then probably Rodri kind of trying to support them from that right defensive midfield area. But to me, this is the France are going to sit back and counter attack, and they've got the pace to do it. And you saw in that Belgium Spanish game, Porro kind of being like out of position or not having the pace to get back. I think that's only going to be intensified. That the Spanish are not quick in the slightest. If anything, they're extremely slow actually, both in defence with Laporte, Kubasi as the centre backs. That's going to be Mbappe's dream. That through ball in behind against those two is going to be great. And then, as I mentioned, Porro against Doué or Mbappe running into that channel. Then you've got the likes of Elise in that central attacking midfield area. running past Rodri and Pedri, who again don't have the speed to keep up with him. I think if we got again, I think it's that like side of the pitch for Yamal against Digne, and then for Doué and Mbappe against that kind of defense. I think that's really the crucial area and where this game's ultimately going to boil down for me. And taking that information, I'm going to look at some props. The first one I'm going for is France to score is a good parlay piece. What I think there's minus 480 on France to score is incredibly good. Everyone goes, why would you lay minus 480? And it's like, I just, through what I just said, I think the French are going to get almost the ideal matchup in that they don't, I think, have to break down the Spanish team. They just have to hit them on the counter, which is what they are best at. I think over 1.5 at plus 108 is great, but I also like the Spanish to score. So yeah, so we have France. I like both their overs. I haven't put any client plays in, but I will certainly be using one or if not both of those pieces. And then if I like the Spanish to score as well, I'm wondering what both teams to score. It's a little juicy. I would have liked this in the more minus 150 kind of range, which is always what I aim for. But again, I think both teams easily score here. You look at their last two head to heads, the last game finished 5-4 between these teams. I think the Spanish were up like 4-0, and then France came back to 4-4, and then Spain scored again, or something like that. It was definitely 5-4, and then the time before that it was 2-1 to Spain in 2024. Again, I don't. I've been a heavy Spanish backer, and they cashed a 5%. I mean, I had them draw no bet as a 5% play with a Sanhagen Bautista over in UFC, so that's great. But I don't want to be betting the Spanish in this matchup. I think it's France goals, and that's probably your best bet in the whole thing. Um, Other angles I'm looking at this game, I mentioned it before. I'd love to go to some of these shot props. I always like just player shots, and I think where is Doué? I think Doué 2+ shots is a good shout. I haven't got the statistics with me to know how many he's been getting, but again, left-sided channel. Mbappe, we know Mbappe loves shots. I mean, you could put Mbappe to have 3+ shots with the both teams to score to bring it down would probably work. And then Yamal, I love the 3+. I love even two. I was gonna say 2+, but -5 actually can't do anything with that. I think all of the Spanish attack is gonna kind of funnel through him. I'd love to know what a Danny Olmo's shot is. Oh, 1600. Can't do anything with that. The only other angle that I'm going to look to target in this game is yellow cards, and I'm actually going to target them in both these semi-finals. So if you don't know how it works, if you've got a yellow card at any point in this tournament, if you get a second one, you miss the next game. So players are being really careful throughout this knockout stage not to pick up silly yellow cards and miss the next game. But they reset at this point, so nobody can be banned for the final itself. And again, I mentioned that pace against the Spanish defense and midfield, and honestly, I think if you take all these players to be carded, if they've got it up, cards, you'll see which names I'm getting to. I like Kubasi, Laporte, Porro, and Rodri all to get yellow cards. It's almost I think it is an automatic yellow if you bring someone down in like with no attempt to play the ball. So like I'm just already imagining Doué getting in behind Porro and Porro just pulling his shirt. Same with Rodri, he's notorious for it. So if we look, where are they on this list? So Porro at plus 350, Laporte at plus 400. Where are the others? He says Kubasi at plus 550, and then Rodri's got to be near the top. I must have missed him. Why can I not find Rodri plus 390? So I've given you four names there. If any of these three hit, you basically get your money back, and if two hit, your quid's up. I think it all leads to at least one, two, maybe even three of these being carded. My favorite ones are probably Porro and Rodri. It's probably why they're the the best odds, but Kubasi is notorious for it as well. Again, lack of pace, kind of that's the French's best option, and I think in such an important game, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Spanish drag them down. I think that's it for props in this game. Sometimes they bring out some of these like novelty props nearer the game. I quite like those. Fouls committed are always good in this one. Again, what am I just thinking out loud? I love Rodri to commit one or two. That's certainly one that I will go and look into. Um, where is Pedro Porro minus 450 to have one? And then where is Kubasi? Minus 320. Again, if I think they're all going to get booked, or at least a large portion of them, then I think they'll definitely commit a foul. I'd have to double check the statistics and see if they've been getting them, but I definitely like them on the fouls. Um, so yeah, I'm going for probably France to win, but I more like the both teams to score, the overs, French goals, and anything that kind of correlates to the Spanish kind of struggling in that area. So fouls and uh, cards and that kind of stuff. Quickly want to mention what we've got up for clients. So this is my graphic from last week, so it's got even better than that. We cashed another 2 Wimbledon plays, including a future on Sinner to win the whole tournament, so that's near 40 plus units. We won another couple of F1 plays. I don't. Well, I had some World Cup plays, but they were parlayed obviously with a 5% with UFC. So it's been a great week or so. Just because these tournaments are over doesn't mean that the plays are over. Had like 7 tennis plays today. Got a huge week. More UFC plays, F1, tennis, the World Cup, obviously, all of that fun stuff. Highly recommend subscribing. Code 50 still active. That gets you 50% off a month subscription. I think I've shortlisted that promo code to last for the rest of the month. And that is the best code that I have and probably will ever offer at any stage. So won't be around for long. Highly recommend you get on that if you haven't already. I'm not going to bother with the rest of the sales pitch. Everyone knows at this point what you get if you subscribe, I think. Let's move on to the second game, England Argentina. I think this is going to be a really close game, and I think this is probably really tough to call. Um, I lean England to qualify in this matchup. Um, More to their midfield battle, and I think they are better against better teams, like stylistically, when they don't have to break these teams down and they have more space to work with. I think England's midfield can go against this Argentina side, although again, I'm expecting it to be close. Argentina play very much through the middle of the pitch, so that kind of could lead into England's favour, which we'll get into in a sec. Um, the problem with England is they never look convincing to me. I think they look leggy. You could see it in the likes of Anderson and Rice, who have played almost every minute. They were absolutely nowhere. Rice has had, in my opinion, an awful tournament. His set pieces have been awful. His fitness has looked. He just doesn't look great. Their lack of control. England struggled to hold the ball and kind of control the tempo and style of matches. Whereas, like I talk about the Spanish, who are notorious for being the best at it, the French for holding the ball and kind of doing what they want. It kind of feels like, in the best way, like England can be pushed around a little bit. I thought Norway and Mexico were very unlucky against them. Obviously, I think Norway's disallowed goal should have probably stood. That was the one where Haaland pushed Anderson, but Anderson sold the call very well. And to me, the ball went nowhere near him, so it didn't affect play in the slightest. But I'm also quite biased in that aspect. And then obviously the ball hitting the spider cam at the top and drop into an England player doesn't help causes. Obviously, I loved Mexico against them. I thought they were incredibly unlucky as well. For England to have a chance in this game, I feel like the wide players are going to have to step up. So it's probably going to be Gordon, and I don't know if Madueke or Saka starts, but you need more from both of them at that point, I think. And the width is where I think you can get at this Argentinian team. Um, Moving on to Argentina, they are they are feisty, and as I mentioned, they almost play through the middle exclusively. Messi obviously technically starts on the right wing, but he just drifts into the middle. And then you almost have the likes of DePaul, McAllister, and Paredes behind them, just kind of doing the heavy work, trying to stifle the other teams and just get the ball to Messi to do something with Alvarez, pretty much. It's hard to write off this Argentina side because they do have Messi, and all it takes is a minute or two brilliance from him, a few moments, and England won't be able to cope. I also think they're going to be leggy. I mean, they've played two extra time games in the last three. Defensively, they just look all over the place, which isn't really surprising given who they play at centre back. They've conceded against one against Jordan, two against Cape Verde, two against Egypt, and one against the Swiss, who ended up having a red card, which really kind of led into their favour. I think also this game comes down to how deep England defend and how much they look to counter attack. If England put almost every player behind the ball and counter attack, I think that this minus 140 on them to advance could look incredibly good. So I might look to see how the first 5-10 minutes unfold and take England to qualify. But if they come out and it's the other way around, so Argentina defending for their lives, I think that almost plays into their hands, and I think they could counterattack quite well against this English side. Um, some props I'm looking for again. I mentioned it with almost every England game this tournament. I like both teams to score. I think minus 125 is a good shout. I just mentioned basically anyone can score against Argentina, it feels like. Um, and I think a couple of messy moments could easily get them a goal. I think Norway and Mexico both scored. I can't remember if someone who else England have played. Obviously, Croatia got goals against them. I think that might be it. Um, but I'd love to see, in the same way that I like the French to score. I think England to score at minus 320 is pretty good. Um, Again, I mentioned a whole every team can score against Argentina. You've got the likes of Bellingham, who's in great form, Kane in great form. The rash defending could lead to another penalty. I really like this minus 320 on England to score, but also both teams to score. And likewise with the other game, I like the Argentina team particularly to get quite a few cards. I mentioned they're quite a feisty team. You look at some of these names we'll get into in a sec. Um, the only interesting thing is that Argentina have really not picked up that many cards. I was going through particularly the knockout stages, and I think only McAllister and maybe one other has been booked, so really not that many. But again, when the kind of style of the games they've kind of been playing from behind, which kind of leads to less kind of yellow cards, I would say, because they have so much of the ball. Um, it's a little surprising. I don't know if I'll get there with client plays. I don't like these any much as I like the Spanish ones, which I previously mentioned. But you look at if I had to pick two, it's Paredes and Romero. Just sound nailed on to get yellows. Quite honestly, in this kind of style of game, um, I don't have it at DraftKings, but another angle I was looking at in Bet365 is to be fouled, so you can get Kane and Jude to be fouled, each of them once at minus 450. That's happened in every single game. Uh, Romero to commit a foul is always great. I mean, I just mentioned him to get a yellow. I think he's committed a foul in every game. And then also Jude Bellingham to commit a foul. He's plus 285, so the most likely booking for this English side. He kind of plays on the edge. He's very feisty. He's had a couple of yellow cards at least this tournament, I think. Had to be very careful because he was one that got one in the knockout stage, so didn't obviously want to get banned. So I think Jude easily commits a foul at this point. So I'm going to go probably like an England. Honestly, in England, like 1-1 and winning on penalties wouldn't surprise me, or like a 2-1 England. I think they're definitely the side that I would back in this matchup, although I will not have a play on either of these sides. Maybe, as I said, I feel like the best bet is the goals for England to score a goal. Honestly, if I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but England to score, I'm going to work it out. France to score a goal and England to score a goal has my interest. So France to score and England to score. Minus 172. I'm sure, again, you put in one of those like Mbappe to have two shots or Yamal to have a shot, and you'll easily get this to a playable number. Thinking out loud, that'll probably make it into a client play. I really like that kind of thing. Let's quickly go for some of the futures. Again, it's near the end of the tournament, so again, they're kind of saying it like I will. It's going to be France or Spain to win this game. Can you get? I love this minus 175. Quite honestly, I might very well go and put this as a client play after this. What else do they have? Top goal scorer again kind of leads to Mbappe now. I think Mbappe and Messi are level. I want to say I might have got that wrong, but I think Mbappe scores against the Spanish. Top team goal scorer. I've already got Harry Kane in a play. They're currently tied. If they tie, I think it's a dead heat, so still make money on that one. Player of the tournament again. If France are winning the World Cup, they're probably just going to give it to Mbappe. Have they still got a young player of the tournament? Again, similar theme is going to be Yamal or Doué. It's really hard to call actually because Yamal's the bigger standout name, but if France win that game, they might give it to Doué if he has a good semi-final or final. I know he came out of the team for Barcola in one or two games, but yeah. And then likewise, if England win, I think Nico O'Reilly. I'm a huge fan of O'Reilly, obviously. So yeah, probably one of those three. If I had to lean, I gotta go Doué. I guess I've been saying Yamal or tournament, but if France win the World Cup, I think Doué probably wins it as well. As I mentioned, we'll have another video up for the final once we get there. If you want any client plays, which are the best bets that I've spent hours researching and compiling, code 50 gets you 50% off a month subscription. Huge amount of sports coming up. I'm not going to go into all of it again, but yeah, highly recommend jumping on that. As always, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments or reach out to me on social medias, and I will be happy to help. Good luck, everyone.